Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat here today with my quick review for the first episode of season 26 of South Park that just finished moments ago on Comedy Central. So I'm going to say some of the things I liked about this episode, some of the things I didn't like, and then tie it up a big old bow in the end. What I liked the best about this episode was probably the final third of it, or everything coming out of the last commercial break, where Cupid Yee goes absolutely haywire. Like the first two thirds, I'll go into that in a minute because I didn't like that necessarily so much. But when the plot really kicks into full gear and Cupid Yee unleashes his plan for Valentine's Day, everything just comes at a very breakneck pace. Like you have the reveals of you have like it was Craig and Kenny walking into the bathroom, and there's stuff that they saw that I don't think I can mention in a YouTube video because YouTube doesn't matter which context you use it in, they'll hear various words and be like, "Oh, we have to can't like that." They see some stuff, and then QBE shoots arrows and infects people with certain hate against a certain group. And then when they come to confront Kyle, who is a member of said group, they attack him by criticizing Hollywood, insisting that, well, he runs it, so everything is his fault, including mentioning stuff like, oh, Avatar 2, or there's going to be a Mario Brothers movie, like stuff like that. I thought that whole setup of that, and also the ending with Cartman finally closing up Pandora's box by forcing Cupid Yee to take his meds. And of course, the one whole thing with Cupid Yee being an obvious reference to the antics of the last few months by Kanye West, including making some other references like his appearance on a certain talk show, which I probably can't mention on YouTube, and also the fact his DEFCON was it the Def he mentioned DEFCON 3 in a tweet, and he had a Cupid Yee referencing it when he like broke into a car, hotwired it. It says DEFCON 1 and just starts driving, wrecking stuff on the way. I thought stuff like that was funny. Like South Park is at its funniest when it goes out of its way to be zany like that. It's like, okay, let's take this somewhat realistic situation. Okay, let's just turn it up all the way to 11 and rip the knob off. That's when South Park's at its best. And it really shined through in the last act of this episode. But now I'm going to go into the first couple acts. South Park has had a tendency in recent seasons to start off on kind of a weak foot. In the first couple acts this episode, let's say the first 15 to 20 minutes of it was kind of weak, but in a different way. Usually the issue was South Park would try to cover everything that happened in like the 9 months since it was last on air. This episode did a decent job of at least being very focused on what they want to cover. They were like, okay, we're just going to focus on Kanye West and the simple plot of Cartman trying to break up Kyle and Tolkien. So Stan can have Kyle back. And they kept it very focused on that, and that's something I think the episode does well. But at the same time, it feels a lot like the same beats get hit over and over again. Like Cartman starts this rumor that Kyle runs Hollywood. Kyle gets angry. And then, like, more and more, Cartman's like, I'm going to have to try to convince Tolkien this stuff, so he'll stop being friends with Kyle. And it happens over and over and over again. And they eventually have Kyle and Tolkien have a spat. And then that's when the last part where Cupid Yee's like, oh, I'm going to go further. I'm going to go all the way with this one. Which even Cartman, which literally tried starting the Fourth Reich back in the Passion of the Christ episode, nowadays is like, whoa, 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 Cupid Yee, you're going a little too far with this. You know you've gone too far when Eric Cartman, of all people, is saying you're going too far with it. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I also kind of like how Cartman himself was the one to ultimately put the genie back in the bottle with force feeding Yee his medication. And overall, this was an episode with its highlights. The lowlights weren't necessarily as low as the highlights, so I think this was an alright episode. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. What do you guys think? Leave your comments, leave your opinions down below. I am the Super Orange Cat, and that is all.